kök hücre uygulamalarındaki tecrübelerini aktaracak. Aslında bu alanda ciddi serisiyle Türkiye'de ve yurt dışında tanınan bir isim. Başarılı sonuçları da örnek olarak kabul ediliyor. Biz de bugün sağ olsun davetimizi kabul etti, geldi. Bizimle paylaşmasını istiyoruz.
Çok teşekkürler. Anybody in the salon doesn't know how to speak Turkish? Okay. İngilizce bilmek kimse var mı? So I better speak in English, maybe it will be more comprehensive. So for me it's always fun to talk to people who are not plastic surgeons because it's always much more rewarding. We learn so many things from them. And you know much more actually. Şu tepedeki işi kapatmak mümkün mü acaba? Kim ilgileniyorsa. Okay, on such a topic, the truth is, this is the only phrase I can just go back from Socrates. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. And after such a start, I would like to go back to our starting point of our adventure with the cells. It was back around 2002, I think, when we started using the fibroblast cultures after reading the work of Voss and learned that he was injecting collagen regenerating cells, fibroblasts, into the skin instead of collagen itself. So he was injecting the factories instead of the product. I was amazed with the idea. So I went back to my father's house. He's a professor of molecular biology. And I was just talking to him. I said, like, I had a great idea. I read it. These guys are doing an amazing thing. And he said, like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, can we? I was like, sure. Why not? And that's the fun part of working with basic science. They can do the things which we cannot even imagine, basically. So we wanted to use the hyaluronic acid as a transfer scaffold with the fibroblasts, autologous fibroblasts. And in the first part, we went back to the lab and we injected the rats into 4 different areas. Only fibroblasts, only HA, control group, and HA with fibroblasts. And this is after 8 months when you take the biopsy. If you inject the fibroblasts alone into an area, there is no difference. If you inject HA only, after 8 months, you see the HA molecules degrade. But finally, if you look at the area where you injected HA with fibroblasts, you see actually the HA was still intact. That's very interesting. And we have seen new collagen bundles. Then we came to conclusion and published that. We have seen that the fibroblasts, if you inject fibroblasts alone, they don't stay at the injection site. Because you need to have a matrix or a transfer scaffold in order to keep the cells at the place where you inject them. And again, interestingly, if you inject the cells together with a filler or a matrix, the cells somehow increase the longevity and durability of the injected matrix also. Then we went back, paid a lot of money for the patents, etc. We started injecting these things to the patients, but then came the revolutions about the stem cells. That's fortunate or unfortunate, we don't know it. Now, we are going through 2 very important revolutions today. One of them is the recognition of fat. This is very important for us plastic surgeons. That the fat is recognized as the most important source of stem cells. And the second thing, it's very easy. Everybody can do it. Everybody can isolate them from the fat. But of course, in our own, let's say, niche of plastic surgeons, we are discussing this, whether this new technologies definitely significantly better than our traditional methods like fat grafting, and nobody knows the answer. Because we can get good results like this, she had been injected with normal fat in a micro fat grafting manner, and this is the result after 2 years. So nearly full graft uptake, great skin quality and everything. So we can get good results with normal tissue grafting, but we had cases like that too. She had been injected 2 times with traditional fat grafting, totally unsuccessful. So these pros and cons of the primary importance of stem cells lies in their ability to differentiate into any different cell type you want. So if you inject them into the heart, they will automatically become heart cells. If you inject them into the skin, they will become, or they will move into dermal cells. And you are talking, because they are, when they are dividing, they are making it more stem cells. You are talking about a never-ending source of regenerative power. Again, outside of the niche of the plastic surgeons, if you talk about the stem cells, you will come to this, to the bone marrow. If you tell to any physician stem cells, they will tell, okay, you can get it from the bone marrow. But this is a problem because it is limited by the quantity and quality. And associated donor side problems like pain, morbidity, and etc. And plus, they have to be cultured. And they have to be cultured under GMP standards, which is problematic, expensive, heavily regulated, and even it might change the biology. Whereas fat tissue development is coming from the same embryonic mesenchyme. And actually from the fat, you can get actually 1,000 times, up to 1,000 times more stem cells. So imagine, instead of 5 cc's of bone marrow, you can get 3,000 cc's of fat. And each cc has 1,000 times more stem cells. This basically eliminates the requirement of cell expansion. And using the fat or fat-derived stem cells, you can get these cells readily available at the bedside. You can get up to 200 million stem cells or regenerative cells from half a liter of lipoaspirate. Normally, we just throw off. The usage of those stem cells are multiple. We can use them in many different areas, but particularly for us, the important thing is we can use them in hostile graft recipient areas, where a normal fat graft would not survive. And we have enough clinical data that adding these cells to any scaffold is safe and effective. But I will talk about my own series of now around 130 stem cell enriched tissue injections, 26 tissue deficiencies, 28 breast enlargements, and 70 something facial rejuvenations. In our clinics, we are using 2 separate systems: a manual antibody-based sorting system for smaller amounts, like for the face, hands, small defects, and an automated isolation system, the cycloid system, for larger amounts for buttock and breast augmentation or reconstruction. If you need less than 100 cc's, then we are using our own system. In the OR, we are having a laminar flow isolation corner. And what we do, okay, excellent. This is how we do it. This is the stuff what I need to get the fat, what I'm going to extract the stem cells. We just take the fat out very easily. It takes around 10 minutes to take the fat out. We are getting rid of the water, washing it, then we put the fat into a sterile centrifuge. And after we get this fat, the first part of the fat we have taken is given to the lab area. So they start working on that fat. Right after this fat harvesting, at the same time in the OR, we just finish the patient's fat transfer and send the patient to the OR. So the patient spends only half an hour in the operation room, and then she goes up to the ward. While we finish these jobs, in the lab, our team starts working on the fat, and the fat is degraded by a collagenase, as you see here. It takes 1.5 hours. That's after collagenase degradation and washing, you get such a suspension of stromal vascular fraction. Now, this stromal vascular fraction has stem cells, as well as B cells, T cells, and other inflammatory cells. We don't stop here. We continue by marking these non-stem cells with magnetic antibodies. And we run these cells through these magnetic columns. So after another half an hour, 45 minutes, you get a purified suspension of only stem cells. So we get rid of also the mononuclear cells which are not stem cells. This is from our paper. From 25 cc's of fat, we get around 20 million mononuclear cells. And we know around 30 to 50% of them are T T cells, B cells, dendritic cells, etc., other mononuclear cells. And these committed precursors are further discharged by the magnetic separation. So from 25 cc's of that, you can get around 10 million adipose-derived stem cells. And after 2 hours, we go back to the ward. The patient is waiting in her room. So we inject these cells into the fat scaffolds we have injected before, or to the areas we need to inject the stem cells. So basically what we do, if you want to take or inject 100 cc's of fat, we take 200 cc's, get the stem cells from 100 cc's, take them out, add them to the grafts, and inject them into the patient. This can be done outside before the injection or inside after the injection. So basically, we are using the patient's own fat as a transfer scaffold and the cells as the cellular treatment procedure. What do we expect from these cells? Basically, these as plastic surgeons again, we expect them to be triggered by the hypoxia in the environment and to increase the revascularization process, which in turn will increase the graft uptake. But that's not all. What you can expect? You can expect a better neovascularization, but theoretically, these cells are going to differentiate into new adipocytes in the future. So you are actually talking about the regenerative process. They are going to be triggered by hypoxia and secrete growth factors, which is going to be a collagen regeneration. And they are going to survive as normal stem cells as well at the same time, because when they are dividing, a stem cell divides into a stem cell and a local cell. So you keep the number of the injected cells at the area, so you can call it as well as prevention. So if we come to the cases, this is our first case of NH tissue injection. She had been injected with steroids over the right shoulder. She lost all the soft tissue between the skin and the capsule. And this is an area, because there is nothing, no subcutaneous tissue, you cannot inject any fat here normally. So what we did, we injected 8 cc's of super-enriched tissue into the area. And after 1.5 years, the patient came like that. Now, please do not, okay, I mean, we have 100% of graft uptake in such a hostile recipient area, but more interesting, please do not call it change in the skin. This is the area of that damage. So we were amazed by that result and continued doing the injection. So this is the case, we inject, somebody has injected 2 times fat injection, normal fat injection, and unsuccessfully. So we injected her with 42 cc's of enriched tissue, single injection, no repetition, and this is the result what you get after 1 year. Another case, a dermatofibromatosis case, 46 cc's of enriched tissue and skin excision, and this is the result what you can get again. Single session, nearly 80% of graft uptake in a very hostile recipient area. A cosmetic case, a mild midfacial hyperplasia, again single section of 22 cc's of enriched tissue, and this is the result of only the midfacial area. You can get some improvement in the skin quality even only by normal fat injection. But if you can get the cells, the stem cells, into the skin itself, then you can get even a better rejuvenation. In that case, we are injecting the cells also into the dermis, so we are calling it a 3-layer treatment for skin rejuvenation. We inject the cells into the subcutaneous level, into the fat scaffold. We inject them into the dermis itself, and we are using an epidermal trigger, as you see here. So this is done like in mesotherapy in order to increase the regenerative cells per centimeter square in the skin. And this is such a case, 18 cc's of enriched tissue and a close-up of the skin quality difference. This is a year close-up. Another case, a combination of neck suspension. This is a minimal invasive procedure. Just a neck suspension and midfacial enriched tissue injection after a year. Of course, you can use the same technique for massive tissue injections. And massive injections are, by definition, a hostile graft recipient area. Anyway. In these cases, we are using our automated systems. these are the donor sites in the ladies. In the men, it's more about the love handles and the middle area. This is the marking. This is more for plastic surgeons. The incisions. It can be done under local anesthesia. This is how we inject the patient. This is the technique for the liposuction. Again, these are the areas where we are going to take the fat. We are doing a deep liposuction and then a superficial. This is supposed to be done by a plastic surgeon because you can create serious defects at the donor site. And the fat is transferred to the device immediately. I think it's been discussed before, so I will be very fast about it. This is a solution system. The fat is given to the automated device. After putting all the fat inside, the device itself starts washing the fat, getting rid of the water crystals, crystalloids and everything. And then we start with the ADC isolation. This is centrifuge, again everything is automated. So this is basically the thing what the machine is doing exactly what we are doing in our manual method. And after you isolate these cells, you can mix them with the graft in vitro before the injection. Or if you want to keep the operation time short, you can inject the fat into the tissue and then later on inject the stem cells into the graft area. Again, a few results. This is a patient liposucted elsewhere with a tissue defect. I personally went there and I made a lipo injection, and this was the result what I got. And then I was unsatisfied with this result, of course. And then we went back and injected the same area with enriched tissue. And this is the result. So, same surgeon, same hand, same technique, same fat, different graft material might give a serious difference in the result. A child with polio lost all the soft tissue over the right shoulder, 180 cc's, a massive injection to the area. This is post-op 2 years, single session, and the natural view. And of course, can use them for the cosmetic purposes, which is a very big demand in our society. I'm sure about England as well. But there are some problems. We do it, but we know that there's a pre-operative preparation needed, so you have to expand the area. We are afraid of microcalcifications, which are related directly to the hypoxic cell death. So what we were thinking about was to increase the revascularization of the graft, which would decrease any need of preparation, as well as any risk of microcalcifications, etc., related to hypoxia. These are the risks, but all of them are neglectable in general. How we do it after taking the fat and mix them before or after. We open the transfer ports. This is a technique for the breast, but it can be used in any soft tissue defect in the body. We are using a closed system. So this is, here we have the fat in 50 cc syringes. We take the fat, the closed system, to 5 cc syringes, inject it. This is the very fast movements in order to decrease the chance of having fat bulks in one single area. So this is the reason why we are injecting in a very fast movement. Then again, we take the fat with this 70 cents stuff and continue injecting the area. We are injecting into different planes. We are injecting into the intramuscular plane, which is in the last few meetings and last 1 year, all around the world, people are moving away from intramuscular injections because we are seeing more and more that actually intramuscular injections are not holding up very good because of the muscle pressure. And we are coming to a conclusion, actually pressure is one of the most important variables we need to control. So that's what I do, less and less. But I do inject into subcutaneous, very superficial subcutaneous region, into the gland, below the gland, above the fascia, and below the muscle. So wherever I find. If there is any stricture like that, then you need to release the area with a technique called rigotomies. And this is how we do it. But the technique or the detail here is you shall never cut this band totally away, because then you are going to create a cave where the cells are not going to be revascularized. What we do is actually we are creating a spongy-like release of the bands in the region wherever we need to release the band. So this is what we do, and then we are injecting the cells into those tunnels themselves. And few results. This was supposed to be the case I wanted to present in the afternoon session, but I will not be here, so I just said, okay, this is interesting. This is a cancer patient, lumpectomy, radiotherapy, chemotherapy. If it would be a plastic surgery meeting, I would ask what they would do here. What would you do here in such a case? You would do a latissimus dorsi flap with a small implant maybe, so at least 2 sessions with high morbidity, a lot of scars and everything. What we did was just an enriched tissue injection, 280 cc's to the right breast only. This is immediate post-op on the table. This is post-op 1 year, the mammography. This is the area we have injected the fat. So the tissue is a normal subcutaneous fat tissue. And this is the result after 2 years. So single session and quite acceptable result. You can use them purely for cosmetic reasons. This is such a case, around 400 cc's to each breast post of 9 months. In this case, it's a full body rejuvenation, let's say, because the patient is getting rid of the fat. She doesn't like them at places, and then she's getting the fat to the places where she likes them to have. Another case, single session around 300 cc's to each breast post of 6 months. Upper pole fullness. The advantage of fat injection to the breast is you can augment actually the local areas you want to augment. You don't need to fully augment the whole breast. But if the patient wants to have an upper pole fullness, you can do that also. Now these are my points of interest. This is a case of severe asymmetry. So implant, the patient has an implant on the left side and the mass epixy, but a capsule contracture happened later on. So what we did is we have removed the implants and put 240 cc's of enriched tissue to this side and a re-mass epixy. Now, this is the result of we got. This is after 1 year. This is an implant. This is fat. 100% graft uptake, where there is such a thin tissue because of the pressure of the implant. So that's very interesting. Another case like that, removal of 195 cc's of implants, single section of 300 cc's of enriched tissue, and this is the result. Again, nearly 100% of graft uptake after implant explantation. Now, as a summary, for the breast, as long as you use the cell preparation, there is no pre-op preparation necessary. We are not injecting more than 300 cc's to any breast anymore because the area is so small that you can, if you inject more than that, anyway it will not hold. And the patient's priority must be primarily lipoplasty, because if the patient wants to have big breasts, it's for sure we are not going to be able to provide that. As long as the complications are concerned, now it's been 5 years. We haven't seen any major complication, at least till now. No calcifications in the breast, because we are using a very slow injection. Of course, the patient satisfaction with cosmetic cases is a major concern for us. This is a discussion we were very much concerned about last year, not anymore. This year the topics are changing. Whether we would trigger any cancer formation in the breast after reconstruction or in a young patient. There is no evidence of increased cancer risk for fatty injection or enriched tissue injections till now. The patient should, of course, have a breast imaging workup before the grafting. it's very critical to tell the patients that it's important, you have to just continue with follow-up, etc. The other topic was whether the radiologists would be able to differentiate between the fat hypoxia induced apoptosis and microcalcifications versus cancer calcifications, and it's not a discussion anymore. They definitely can differentiate between them. So, what to say about the risks and opportunities about these injections today for plastic surgeons? Legally, as long as we do not expand the cells, as long as we inject them in the same day, in the same location, in the same building in Turkey, it's considered as a minimum touch procedure, and we are legally fine. We don't use any preoperative preparation, which is a very important advantage for us. And because we are using a stage injection, the operation time is much shorter and easier for the patient. But of course, this revolution is in evolution. It's not finished yet. We don't know many things. We don't know, for example, where exactly we need to inject in the breast. We don't know where to inject in the face to get the best result. We don't know whether stem cells injections or fibroblast cultures are better. Now, on the face, we are moving back to fibroblast cultures. We don't know how to combine them, whether it's better to combine them before or after the injection. We don't know how much to enrich, 1:1, 2:1, 5:1. We don't know whether stromal vascular fraction or magnetic sorting purified stem cell injections are better, because adding or having the inflammatory cells inside might have advantages as well as disadvantages. We don't know also why the explantation patients have better results. So we don't know many things, we just wonder, but again, thank God. Socrates said, wonder is the beginning of wisdom. So back to the basic question, whether it is really significant to use these techniques in any plastic surgery medical area. Yes, these techniques or these procedures, treatments work in the areas where traditional methods stop working, particularly in the hostile recipient areas. We have a significantly better graft uptake and result. Thank you very much.
Çok teşekkür ederiz bu güzel sunumunuz için. Benim sormak istediğim konu bu işlemin kanser oluşumunu tetiklemesi ya tetiklemediğine dair olan verilerinizle ilgili. Bunu söylemek için bu tekniğin uygulandığı süre yani ne zamanlarında uygulanıyor, takip süresi nedir? Bunu hakikaten güvenle söyleyebilir miyiz? Takip sürelerimiz bunu söylemek için hakikaten yeterli mi? Hastanıza bu konuda güvence verirken ne kadar kendimizi güçlü hissediyoruz?
Güçlü hissetmiyoruz. Okay, the question is about the İngilizce mi cevap vereyim, Türkçe mi cevap vereyim? The question is about whether we are sure that we are not going to create any cancer in the breast. Of course we are not sure. Now, there is no difference basically between a normal fat injection to the breast versus enriched tissue injection, because what we are doing is not culturing the cells and injecting them or changing the number of the stem cells as a whole in the body. So, what we are doing a normal, let's say, maximized fat injection to the breast. And we have series now published with 10 years follow-up, with 2,000 and more cases, which showed no difference between fat-injected breast cancer risk and normal cancer risk. And if you think about breast manipulation, then breast augmentation, any breast reconstructive procedure or any breast cosmetic procedure is going to have some effects in the breast tissue. So, of course we are not sure, but we have enough data today that we can say, you know, it's nearly normal.